right, I got a red face, y'all. Episode 17. I'm looking on my notes. Wow, it's episode 17. Luke Hentges is my man that I'm talking with today. And Luke, here he is. Hey, Luke, how you doing, brother?
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Luke is one of the cast of characters in Northwoods Angling. Great group of guys up here in Minnesota doing a lot of, they've done awesome videos, you know, with big blue catfish, big alligator gar, flathead catfish. I really kind of look up to these guys when it comes to bottom fishing because the reality is I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. I mean, I have a general idea, but I look up to Luke. And so here we go, Luke. Luke and Jacob primarily. I can't forget Jacob Halls. But what's that?
Peter, too.
Yeah, yes, Peter. And so what do you say we get into episode 17, Luke?
Let's do it.
This isn't another fishing podcast. This is another fishing podcast.
How the hell are you doing, man? It's so weird because you're one of these guys. I can't get over how red my face is. I've had this problem. So if you're one of the lucky patrons on our Patreon account, you could see how red my face is, and that's the only way to see the full podcast is to go to angling. You didn't know that you're going to get immediately. There's going to be a plug in this podcast. Sorry about this, Luke. But no, so if you want to see the full podcast and this gloriousness, this with Luke here, go to Angling Uploaded. Angling Uploaded. I don't even know what it is. This is terrible. Go to patreon.com/Angling Uploaded. Become a patron, and you could watch the full podcast. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about right up front. But no, so Luke is Luke's one of these guys that I feel like I've known for a long time, and I feel like we've fished a long time, and I've only met him once, and it was at dinner, like the kind of the beginning of our foray into the internet world with fishing. And then it's just kind of, and this, I blame this all on me, but I'm just a terrible, I can be like a recluse, you know? And it's not that I don't like to fish with people, but I'm out here, you know, I'm not going to tell specifically where I live because I know there's some sleuths out there that want to know where I'm fishing sometimes, but I feel like I'm out in the country and I can kind of, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, Luke. What I'm trying to tell you is I want to fish with you sometime.
We can fish more.
Let's just get into who you are. You have a giant catfish behind you, which is a blue catfish that you caught.
Yep.
You grace the pages of In Fisherman magazine because of your catfish skills and that big blue cat. So kind of just tell people who you are and what you love to do.
Well, I grew up in northern Minnesota on a lake up by Bemidji. I never really knew about catfish. I didn't know about sturgeon, all the crazy stuff I fish for now. I had no clue growing up, even in high school, into college. I had no clue. I'd never fished for catfish. Went to University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, which is luckily on the Red River of the North. Soon, I didn't know, but at the time, but it's the best, channel cat fishery in the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
One of my best friends and roommates in Grand Forks, his dad's actually the videographer for In Fisherman.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so he told us, he's like, get your muskie and your pike gear. You guys need to go to the river, and you need to fish for those catfish, because they had done some shows, I believe, with Durick, actually, on the Red River.
Brad Durick.
We were there. I think this was 10 or 11 years ago. Maybe a little more than that now. I'm getting old. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Oh, please.
And it was, Durick said that year when I started was the best Red River year he's ever had in his life. So I remember specifically our first weekend on the Red River, we got 44 channel cats over 36 inches, and I was hooked. It's like, wow, that was it. That was it.
So how old were you when that happened?
I was 20 years old.
So that's when you're 20 years old, when the love of, was that the love of fishing, or you'd already had the love of fishing and it was the love of catfishing? Or
I fished a ton growing up, but never river fishing like that.
okay. So what are you talking? The thing about the Red River is like it's got it's got giant channel cats. I mean, it like the biggest channel cats in the world, right?
Probably not the heaviest channel cats, but in terms of numbers and size, like on average, is probably the best.
And what is that about that fishery where it's just like kicks out? Like, because typically you think the farther north you go, the shorter growing seasons, you know?
Yep.
But what is it about, you know, like, I don't get it. Is it, so that's the Red River. Is there huge amounts of shad in there? Or?
Not really. It's kind of a featureless bowl. And a lot of goldeye, a lot of rough fish. But I think it's the genetics of those fish is what it really comes down to. I think they're all catfish, but I think it's hard. I don't know. We've talked about it in our catfish workshops with the DNR, but I think it's like that. I don't know.
It's a strain.
I don't even think it's a strain. I don't know if they're so much bigger on average than everywhere else. It's weird.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of, so I've shot a ton of muskie shows through the years, and Minnesota is like, I would say it's the best state, probably the best place on the planet to catch muskies as far as numbers and then the quality. And it's the Leech Lake strain of muskies that everybody wants in there, you know, whether you're from Wisconsin or Michigan, New York, like people want that Leech Lake strain of muskies because it's like a well-bodied fish. So I wonder if there's something like there's a channel, like a certain strain, northern strain of channel cat that just, you know, maybe specific to that river, that it just, you know, because you hear like the Ottertail River
Yep.
also has really a really good, and which is on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota, and that's got, you know, really big channel cats in it for the size of river it is, and it's connected to the Red River, so it's interesting.
It's weird because they don't have the temperature on their side. That's not
Right.
helping them.
Right.
And I don't think they have any more food than any other river. But you got to remember their growth rate's really slow too. So
Right.
they're old fish.
It's interesting too, because it's like, if there's, I mean, channel catfish, as you know, like you guys have done, you've done ice fishing, shoots for channel catfish, like big channel catfish.
Yeah.
And like I fish the Horseshoe Channel Lakes in the winter for channel catfish, which is, you know, not too far from me. And they bite really readily through the ice. So, you know, and that's 32 degree water temp. And I mean, they have no problem, and they're aggressive a lot of times. And so it's weird, like channel cats just seem to be, at least the channel cats up here, seem to really, they're like walleyes, like as far as how readily they bite, you know?
Kind of another thing you brought up that's never really been talked about, especially in a podcast or a video, is Red River channel cats do not bite through the ice.
Really?
Oh, dude. So my friend Forrest, he does some fishing video stuff. He does a lot of walleye stuff in Minnesota. His dad's actually was another member of our catfish workshop. I think he still is, actually. He's lived on the Red River his whole life, and he's never got a channel cat on the Red River with the highest density of channel cats in the entire world. He's never had one bite and caught one. So
even that's interesting. So even when the river gets frozen, and I mean, I imagine he's fishing areas that, I mean, there are holes and, you know, slow. Yeah. And really? Have you heard of anybody, you know, down in Minnesota catching them on rivers through the ice at all?
You can catch them in the Minnesota River in the winter. So that's what's very strange. I mean, there's regions like flatheads aren't in the northern region above like Taylor's Falls for the most part, but they're still feeding in the summer like everything else. So the Red River cats, I've only heard of one or two in the last 10 years that have been caught in the Red River in the winter. And and I think both of those were up by Lake Winnipeg. So,
Oh, okay, interesting.
I mean, people don't catch them up there either. And there's thousands and thousands when they're walleye fishing. So think about that. It's strange.
Yeah, because I've thought about when I got hooked on the whole horseshoe chain of lakes, catfish thing, like realizing, wow, I can catch channel cats through the ice. I was like, well, where else can this be done? And Detro, like he was one of his videos was one of the first. Him and Andy Yak Angler were like two of the videos that I actually learned how to ice fish for channel cats. And Andy Yak Angler is like known now as a smallmouth guy more than, but I watched one of his early like channel cat videos where he was fishing them through the ice. And fishing, well, he was fishing a reservoir, but or reservoirs, but I kind of tried to look around here, like that kind of close to me. Were there any other bodies of water that could, that were slow enough that would freeze that you could catch, channel cats out of? And I hadn't really heard of anybody doing it, or it just seems like, I don't know. It seems maybe like it just needs to be an impoundment of more than, because where you guys were catching yours in Wisconsin, right? In a reservoir, right?
In a lake.
It was a lake. Okay. So I wonder if there's something about current or something, or rivers where it's just not as, for whatever reason, channel cats, it's not like a, I mean, so the Minnesota rivers got them? Like you can catch them with like readily, or no?
No, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, very few will bite. I'll be honest with you. Once in a while, you're jigging, like rip jigging for walleye in the winter, you'll snag one, but you can get them to bite once in a while. They don't bite hard. They don't rip it. It's probably even a smaller bite than the horseshoe. I mean, it's I don't know. It's interesting because I've thought about it for so long. Living on the Red, I lived in Fargo and Grand Forks for 8 years, and I ice fished that every single winter. I could not catch one in the slowest holes, and everything I could find, I could not catch a catfish on the ice, and I tried. Durek even said, you're probably chances of getting struck by lightning are better than catching a channel cat on the Red Rivers in the winter. So
did he have any theories on why that was, or like any?
I just think it's because I think it's just so far in the North region is the reason. They almost, I would imagine I don't think they quite go into torpor like flatheads do here, but I think they're almost to that stage where it is so cold for so much longer, and that little bit of change just made that little difference where they won't eat. That's my only theory. That's the only thing I can think of.
I like that you use the term torpor, or I don't even know how to say it, but it's basically it's hibernation, right? They're like essentially.
It's not true hibernation, but it's that's what people would say. It's like hibernation for a fish. If it's low metabolic rate, very little movement, and fish like my parents, koi fish, go into torpor in the winter, and they go 7 months without food. So I mean,
wow.
People think fish need to eat. They don't need to eat when they have that ability. They don't at all. Right.
So you were mentioning flatheads. There's been guys that have dropped cameras down in the wintertime, specifically the Mississippi River, where it's open all year long because of nuclear plant, the warm water discharge. And so, like, they've had guys have dropped cameras down into, I don't know if they're dropping them in holes or what, but where there's a congregation of flathead catfish.
And they all go to the same spot.
Do they really?
Majority. They have specific wintering areas. So right now they're actually looking for, our biologists are looking for more wintering spots for flatheads, because there's some known ones. There's some on the Minnesota River that I'm aware of. And when you go there and jig late fall, like early winter on the boat, if you're not in the wrong spot, I mean, there's flathead after flathead you're snagging every single time you drop down. I don't know how many are down there, but It's kind of why we got the season closed for floodings in the state.
Hey, Luke. So my wife is like a ninja right now. She's just walked under the camera. My little dachshund has to go outside. I wish you could see this. It's so ridiculous. So I apologize. No. So what? So you're saying? Sorry, I was distracted. So you're saying that basically so there's areas that they're trying to determine. The DNR is trying to determine where they hole up, basically. What?
Yeah. Archaeologists are.
Yeah. What are they? What are they kind of trying to find? Are they thinking it's going to be like how deep a holes or slack current or like a break or?
It's just kind of a slower set of water with a little break, and I'm not going to specify what parts of holes they're in because I don't want people to go target them, but they're always in the same part of a hole typically. And they're usually just stacked on top of each other, like cordwood. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't want. You can't. That basically you can't. You can't. They don't eat. So if people, but they're highly susceptible to snagging. So, if you're an a-hole, you would probably have no problem doing something like that. But if you're a legitimate fisherman like Luke here. That is not acceptable. So,
and we did get the season closed for the winter. So.
Good, hallelujah! That's great news. Nice. So you were a part of getting that done.
I'm part of the group that pushed for it. Where there's species workshops throughout Minnesota you can apply for, and I'm in the Catfish workshop group. So we have citizens, and then we have biologists that we meet with.
Right on. Well. Nice work there. That's important stuff because I know that there's people that would mess with those fish, and so it's good to hear. Did everything go all right, Jessica?
I'm fine.
Okay, good to hear. Everything the dachshund has been let out and was able to relieve itself.
And I gotta say that Darren, Detros used to be a part of that for a long time. He was the big reason, the big pusher of that, and he's no longer in the group, but. If it wasn't for him, it probably would never have happened. So
yeah, so that's Darren Troseth, and yeah, Darren is a big, one of the big cat fishermen in Minnesota. Does a lot of work with the DNR, and like I said, I've actually learned a lot through watching his videos and watching, of course, your guys' videos at Northwoods Angling. But yeah, but here's the big news. So something we have in common. We both got boats recently, and I know that you had a boat previously, and now I see you've got a new boat, and it's a jet, which I've said this to my wife. My next boat I'm going to get is going to be a jet boat, for the Mississippi River. But my wife's like, dude, you need to pay off this thing right first and foremost, but. But no, so I'm a big fan of jet boats, and so go into like what you got, because I shouldn't be envious because I love my boat, but I am kind of envious.
Well, I'll go in with what I started with and why I changed first. So this whole year's kind of been a bummer for me. As of last weekend, I just sold it to my brother. I sold my other boat to my brother, actually.
And it was a deep V, right?
I had an Alumacraft Trophy 175, the deepest Alumacraft really sport fishing boat you can get. It was deep, and it was not the greatest for fishing the Minnesota River. And I could putt around or fly. When you learn to stretch, you can go a little faster, but water levels went down. I'm like, I don't even want to fish. I don't want to ruin my prop every single time I go, bump into logs. And so I finally bit the bullet. And I got myself a G3 20ccj with a 150 Yamaha Jet outboard.
Nice. So that's the thing where, I have an 18-foot, I bought an 18-foot tracker, and I wanted, I've never been a fan of deep V boats, especially walk-through deep V boats. I've always been a bass boat guy. I just love bass boats, okay? But you can't, if you're trying to fish I'm a multi-species guy, really. I mean, I love to bass fish, and I was into tournaments. That's probably like, I'm probably not going to be fishing tournaments again, but I still loved bass boats. But, up here in Minnesota, if you're a multi-species, guy, there's so many fish to target up here. We've got lake sturgeon not far from us in the St. Croix River. There's just a phenomenal fishery. If you want to, another amazing lake sturgeon fishery is the Rainy River to the north of us here. The Minnesota River has got incredible flathead catfish in it. There's walleye fishing out the wazoo. You can fish walleye throughout the whole entire year down the Mississippi River. And bass, and everything you could imagine. And there was no way that I could it didn't make any sense to just get a bass boat. You really needed, for me, I needed like a Swiss Army knife of boats, Yep. And we've had a tremendous drought this year in Minnesota, and seeing how the Minnesota River is so low, because I wanted to get out there on my boat, onto the Minnesota River with my boat, but because it's so low, I've just been nervous, like what you're saying. And so, yeah, that's the beauty of a jet boat, is that, you can obviously, there's such a shallow draft. You can run water that I would just be so puckered up with an outboard, So that's got to be awesome to kind of have that freedom. Have you had it out much, or?
I've been out 3 times since I bought it, and the only thing I don't like about it, which I knew what was going to be an issue, is hitting waves in it while you're on plane. It's a Mod V, but it still slaps the waves pretty hard.
Right.
But I bought it so I can fish everything in it I want. If the waves are big enough where I don't want to go in them, I'm probably not going to be fishing anyways. Yeah. But it has almost has a 100-inch beam. It's a giant boat.
Wow. Nice. So it's really wide.
Very wide, and Jacob said it's going to be like the perfect fall muskie boat. We're going to pull suckers and do some fall muskie fishing out of it. It's really good for everything until you get a big chop in it. Then you're cavitating a little bit, but that's okay.
So do you fish? Are you primarily fishing the Minnesota River? Is that what your primary fishery that you spend the most time on?
Yeah, I only live 5 minutes from it, so that's typically what I pretty much fish.
Nice. And so you're fishing primarily flatheads in Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Right on. So what do you do? And I'm not trying this. I'm not asking you. I want this to be very clear. I'm not asking for any secret spots, anything like that. I'm talking generalizations here. So talk to someone who is, newer to catfishing, or just an idiot like myself. What are this especially in the north, right? What are the seasonal for catfish? What are the seasonal? Let's take channel cats and then flatheads. Spring, summer, and then fall. What are channel cats doing? What are flatheads doing?
Well, I'll start with flatheads because it's a little more interesting than channel cats. They're a lot more channel cats. Let's just say that. Flathead springtime, they come out of their winter holes, and sometimes they'll go 30, 40, 50 miles. Even some will winter in the Mississippi and come up to the Minnesota every year. They go from their wintering holes, and then they're moving and feeding before pre-spawn. So spring pre-spawn, early summer, you can fish cut banks, and you're getting moving fish the whole time. They're not going to hit it like they do in the summer, where they inhale your bait and snap your drag down when they inhale it. They inhale it so hard. They're grabbing bait and grabbing it and going. That's the spring bite, and it's probably one of my favorite time to fish is spring pre-spawn.
So what are you using to? So you're fishing. You're targeting cut banks during that time in the spring, and so you're presenting baits that are you drifting under a float or something, or how are you presenting a bait?
I'm sitting on the edge of a fast current on the eddy, on a cut. You can be in the outside bend where typically it'd be almost too fast, and you have a 2 feet of slack water and ripping current next to it, fish that like dead spot right in the middle of the two. I mean, they're moving up and down the river for pre-spawn. I mean, that's when you're gonna get those moving fish where you can catch. You know, I've had times where we've caught 4, 5, 6 fish almost 40 inches in a day on pre-spawn. It just you hit the right spot. You hit the right spot. So
that's awesome. And then what happens? So like, and then the transition to summer.
Yeah, they transition. They spawn in cut banks. So you can fish them during spawn. It's difficult and it's not fun. That's kind of when I get into the bass fishing a lot and go. I love topwater fishing bass. I love throwing drop shots. I love throwing for smallmouth up north because I grew up fishing smallmouth. So I mean,
nice.
I love it so much. Pike and walleye, all that, and that's when I kind of bass fish, and I don't leave them alone because I feel bad of catching them during spawn. They're just really hard to catch during spawn. They're in holes in the bank, so it's tough. And the male guards the eggs from the female and from predators. So the female lays her eggs and leaves, and the male kicks her out. He actually guards the eggs the entire time.
Is that right? No kidding.
Yeah. So, and it's weird because even after spawn, catching a female, I mean, it can be hard too, but you get those males with all those spawn marks on them, and even females can get spawn marks from rubbing in the sides of the holes. And that's kind of what's happening there. But summer, they go into structure during the day typically. That's when you fish real in big old wood in the river. And then at dark or, towards dark, go up to those creek mouths and go up to those flats where those flats are coming out of the wood at night to feed. So.
Gotcha. And then the fall, like it's a transition. Is it kind of in reverse? So they start, well, not in reverse basically, but they start just migrating to the deeper holes. And
yeah, there's kind of a fall secret to flatheads. I don't fish flatheads a lot in the fall. I sturgeon fish. So, but there's a really good, like super good cut bait bite, on rivers in the fall. If you know where to look, you're kind of looking for those flats and on the edges of flats, and they'll come by and pick it up. I mean, you can have amazing small holes like on the Croy for cut bait in the fall. I've seen multiple fish over 60 pounds. So, I mean,
holy smokes almighty.
Yeah. Those guys know what they're doing in the fall. I don't fish flats in the fall, so I'm in sturgeon mode, but
right.
They catch giants in the fall.
So then, we were talking flatheads. So channel cats, how different are channel cats? Similar as far as their seasonal movements?
The gestation period on a flathead's super short, and I feel like channels are even longer. I don't know what the gestation period is in a channel cat, but I feel like it slows down for longer almost. It's weird. And they spawn at different temps. Flatheads usually spawn, I think, in Minnesota between like 70 and 75 degree water temp, but I think it's always, regardless, it almost feels like regardless of what the water temp is, I think they always spawn around the same time regardless.
Right.
The moon and all that. I think that has a lot to do with it too. But I don't pre-spawn channel cat bite. I'll just say for the Red River specifically, because I used to do a lot of that. I don't typically target channel cats here. Pre-spawn's amazing. They're on a feed crush fest. Spawn's tough. They get really, really skinny. The males get really big heads. Their heads kind of like crappies. Male crappies turn black when they spawn. Channel cat head males, channel cats heads get swollen.
Wow.
And
I think I've caught some of those in the past, like on the Minnesota River, where I'm like, what the hell is this? Because it doesn't look like a channel cat. I'm like, is this a blue cat? In fact, I know Pete and I, we've caught channel cats like that. We're like, what in the? And it was. I think it's around when are they doing that? Like, what's the month? Is it like
June or July, maybe?
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
And they get real skinny and with the big old heads on them. Yeah. It's crazy.
What are they because why is that? Do you know? Like,
I should know my literature more, but unfortunately I never actually read why it happened.
We'll forgive you. It's okay. So you have a I got a list here, man, of stuff I want to ask you. And I knew this would happen. How long are we into this already? We're already at 30 minutes into this conversation, and I haven't even hardly touched the the list here. But so you have one of the things that I've noticed about you. You have I would say you have a real appreciation for social media. And you know how to you know I'm quite a bit older than you, so I've come into this as really an idiot, and I've failed like I don't know, like an old person trying to figure out like the newest fad and trying to fit. I mean, I've failed so utterly at all this, but you, I think, are in that generation where it's much more comfortable. You have a better grasp of how to use social media. I'm not like totally inept, but I'm stuck in my ways is the problem. But so tell me about like how, specifically in fishing, but how you got into social media. You were one of the first that was really doing stuff on Twitch too, and doing live stuff on Twitch, which I didn't even know what the heck that was, and until I saw you guys doing, I think, live streams.
Yeah, there was a handful of people that did fish on Twitch before me. I was probably, from what I know, probably one of the first people that live streamed on Facebook fishing. I had only seen it done once, and live was brand new on Facebook. It was a professional bass fisherman. I don't remember his name. I think it might have been Houston. I don't remember who it was, but I saw him go live, and it was a brand new feature. And from that next day, I started doing live. That's where my live stream started, was live Facebook, and nobody had done it.
Right on.
The Twitch thing kind of came along. I found some other guys that weren't super serious fishermen that didn't take it as serious as me, that kind of just drank beer, and there's a group of people that would watch them on Twitch, and I kind of wanted to do something different, so that's why I started doing the Twitch thing. It was fun. I enjoyed Twitch a lot. It's a lot of work though.
Yeah. So I have this idea that, I have all these ideas. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. If I could do this many videos in a week, and then blah 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 blah, and then the editing. It's one thing to film everything. It's easy. Really, the filming is easy. It's when you come back and edit stuff that's hard. So if you're just jumping into this thing and you want to do videos and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to put all these videos. It's the editing that's the pain. The live stream is actually a nice, a nice, easy way. When I first heard about live stream, I think it was Periscope is when I first heard that technology. I was like, this is really, really cool. We've done a few live streams, and it was fun doing it, but it's way, I would say it's way easier than editing something. I just got to focus, because I liked when we were doing live stream stuff, but I just got to focus. I got to go, okay, because the biggest thing I've found through all the trials and tribulations is, like, if you're not consistent doing this and you're not posting, I would say, you need to post at least once a week, and just there's exceptions to this, but I think posting at least once a week, if you can do more, like, to really grow, you got to do more than that. Yeah. So that's what I'm attempting to do as we speak. I've been out in my new boat and doing much more basic videos, which is really freaking hard for me to do. Like, I come from a video production background where you overthink everything. You spend way too much on everything. Like, it's like everything's got to be perfect, because in broadcast television, it's like everything does have to be perfect. The color's got to be right. Everything's got to be legal, blah, blah, blah. That's the world I came from. And then being thrust into the internet world where people are like, we don't give a damn, dude. We just want you, like, it's almost like, tell me if you agree with this. More and more I've, like, determined that people just, I think it's like a video diary. Like, people want just be real with them and give them just your experience through the day. You could do it with your phone, for God's sakes. They just want a diary of your day.
And I can't agree more.
Yeah.
I live in the world where, Jacob's obviously a videographer profession as well, and he's also what you are, a perfectionist, and
it'll screw you, dude. Take it from me. This is the best tip I can give anybody jumping into the internet, YouTube world, whatever. You don't be a perfectionist, man. I am the perfect example of don't be a perfectionist. You can't. It's going to screw you. Okay, sorry.
No, it's hard. It's getting all the right shots. And bless his heart, he's amazing at what he does. He's good. And I appreciate him a lot. But, man, I always say, like, let's just do this. Let's do something smaller. And it's a pride thing for him. And I get it. When he puts something out, he wants it to be awesome. And I'm not mad at him for it. I think it's awesome, but it's really hard to put out content when you're doing that. It's really hard.
Yeah, and I'll say this, trust me, I've learned this the hard way. You're shooting yourself in the foot. If you want to actually make this, and I've had to learn this the very hard way, because none of this, as far as the video portion of what we're doing, none of it's going to amount to. Here's the reality. As a freelance videographer, I'd like there to be somewhat of a safety net, because you never know when a client could disappear. I love the idea that you can make your own content and you can generate your own audience that can support you. I think that's so beautiful. Like it's everything that I actually ever wanted. But you can't be a perfectionist. What's most important is that people feel that you're being authentic with them, you're being genuine, and just take them along for the ride. It's a video diary or vlog, whatever the hell you want to call it. You can still have those big episodes, and I think we'll still do that. I really love what we did with another fishing show, but it's too much. You can't, maybe 2 of those twice a year, 2 of those a year is what I'm trying to say, twice a year. But you are absolutely, if you're thinking that everything that you have to do has got to be this amazing, it's like you're not going to grow, at least not in the fishing realm. I mean, I've just, and you can't just stop and start. And this is us. The stop and start and blah, blah, blah. You've got to just go, okay, I have a routine and I'm going to stick to it. And there's going to be this number of videos every week. People can count on it. And it's me fishing and screwing up, and also, maybe something, someone can learn something from my screw ups or whatever. Just that whole thing. That's what people like people. I've learned. Tell me if you agree with this. YouTube, the internet is, and this is with everything. It's with political YouTube, everything. People are turning off their TV. They go to YouTube. They go to the internet because they want the alternative to that crap they're seeing on the BS and the. That they're seeing on the TV. It's taken me 7 or 8 years to finally get it, but I think I've gotten it.
But I appreciate the fine-tune. I go back and watch you guys' videos all the time. They're my favorite fishing videos on YouTube. Still, I just watched the best damn fishing float 2 days ago. Watched it from start to finish, and I smiled the whole time I watched it.
See, that's so. You just made my day, and I thank you for saying that, because the amount of work that went into that is just torturous. And the only reason I did it, I shouldn't take. That's ridiculous. I love filming those, but to edit them, I'm not a natural born editor, and then I'm a perfectionist. So when you're a perfectionist and an editor, it is in many ways torture. I can't, it doesn't, there's stuff that I would be nitpicky about that it's just stupid. No one would ever see it, no one would ever, but anyway, I get into my, an OCD vortex when I edit a lot of times. So, I appreciate you saying that. But realistically, the amount of work that is involved there, I think realistically we can do 2 of those a year. and I want that to be a part of what we do. But I think in order to grow an audience, you have to have consistent content. And I gotta, I've this week I filmed let's see, two very basic, like the most basic shoots I've ever done. Just with one camera, a Hero 5 Session chesty, which if I want a different angle, I take it off the chesty and I mount it to my windshield. And then I've mounted GoPro mounts all over my 1995 Chevy Silverado pickup truck. So I get, it's just an easy, I get that shot, and so I'm trying to make it easy for me. So it's just like one camera. Don't overthink it. Just take people along for the ride. Just do it with one camera. And so I think I'm there, Luke. I think I'm...
The next show, which Jacob's almost done with, it's all on my Hero 9. Everything was done on my GoPro.
Nicely done.
So it's going to be I've only done that once before, which was a Cascade perch video. That was on my GoPro too, and then this next one will be as well. It's gonna be sick. Problem is, we've been gone for so long now, for a few months. We haven't put out a video. Getting traction on a new video is really tough once you take a break like that. So
yeah, that's the thing. Again, like one of the stupid YouTube algorithm things is like it's it's almost like I don't know, you know this better than I do, but I've heard people say that if you're away for a while, it just takes longer to build back up to where you were.
100%.
And so that's another thing why you just have to, if you're going to jump into it, don't kill yourself, but just be consistent. And I mean, so are you familiar with Kayak Catfish? You ever heard of Kayak Catfish?
Yeah.
So have you seen how crazy his YouTube channel is now?
Yeah, he's doing well.
He's up past 118,000 subscribers. Yeah, and Kayak Catfish, like we started at the same time. We started following each other, around the same time where we just, start doing this. And now I did a podcast with him. He's like, I remember, I remember just checking in with him and seeing how his YouTube channel was going. I hadn't looked in a while. I'm like, holy crap. That was like, I don't know, a month ago he had 100 and, I don't know. He had just crossed over 100,000, I think, maybe 105,000. And now he's got 118,000 and he quit his job and he's full time.
So this is something you should think about to make your mind go even more crazy. Is when you dominate a certain area on YouTube, he specifically is the Catfish kayak guy. That's what he does. When you search that stuff, he comes up. Like Mav was one of my best friends. When you search truck camping, he dominates it. You got to take something by the horn and just do it. If you want to grow like their rate, like Mav gets 100,000 subs a month. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
I mean, he's going to hit, I don't know, like 1.3 million. He just hit 1 million like 3 weeks ago.
Oh my Lord. I don't even want to know what he's making. Like, dude, that's crazy. That's nuts, dude. So if Kayak Catfish, so his name's Justin Johnston, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
If Justin is making he's able to quit his job with 100, well, before that, it was 110,000 subscribers. What is someone making making like 1 million subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah, he's getting like 3 million views a month. It's or maybe it's more than that. It's a lot.
Man, that's crazy.
He's doing well for himself, and I'm proud of him because he took that truck camping thing and he dominates it. I mean,
so do you think? So here's what I also wonder too. Like I like podcasts. I'm just gonna keep doing this. I don't give a damn.
Right.
Like I like talking fishing. And I don't care whether YouTube. I mean, I'm gonna put like clips of this on YouTube, but this is gonna be something that I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna do it. I'm trying to do these weekly. But as far as the video aspect of things, one thing that I have, as far as like YouTube and whatnot, one thing that I have wondered is is YouTube just, you have your niche and you need to stick in your niche? Like this multi-species thing, are you shooting yourself in the foot? I'm a multi-species angler. What are your thoughts?
I think if you can consistently do multi-species, I think it would benefit you, and you could be like the multi-species guy. But getting a niche, if you search like catfishing or carp fishing, Luke Nichols comes up. Catfish and carp. He dominates. When you search for catfishing or carp fishing, he comes up. You need to get your channel where when people search for like truck camping or something unique, you pop up. And that's what there's a name for it.
Search just in the YouTube search or in Google search?
YouTube. There's a term for it Jacob uses that he says, oh, it's up to this video is up to something with the searchability is up to like 44% of this video. It's going to blow up. And it does. And
wow.
I don't know exactly. Trying to figure out the algorithm's impossible, but
yeah.
Those niche guys that got that stuff by the horns dominate and they grow fast. And I think the catfish, there's kind of a limit to, like Luke Nichols does a whole bunch of stuff and crazy camping stuff. And he's got the camping channel now with his kids. And, but forever, man, you search catfish, everything like was all him. It's getting the grasp to get on top of that search engine is so big, man.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, I don't want to, I'm not going to be this guy that's like, I'm too old for this shit, dude. I'm not going to be a guy that's like, you know what, I see that, I don't know. I've talked about this before. Like, I can't say that again. If I give the same example, it's going to sound like I'm ripping on someone, but I don't want to search. I don't want to chase trends where, and it's just ridiculous, where if you use some idiotic lure because the Guggen squad's using it, then you could, you can get in the suggested, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, like, my time is valuable. I don't want to be chasing some stupid ass trend like, like you remember this? I've given this example before, but like the hot knife through crap. Remember that? That was a thing.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into that because, yeah,
you did it. It's okay. No, listen, I've done stupid stuff. I'm not trying to. You've done the knife trick.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to talk about anyone. But
gotcha.
The point is that does work.
Oh, I know it works. I know it works, dude. But I feel like, there's stuff that I've done. I'm like, God, I feel like such a jackass. Like I just, and I'm like, maybe just suck it up, dude. You'd have 1 million subscribers by now.
And I don't hate people for doing it.
Oh, no, I don't either. Here's the thing, dude. I'm not begrudging anybody. Listen, but I just don't want to do it, dude.
Yeah, you almost just gotta sometimes, I feel like.
I think you're right. And that's the thing, dude. Like, Andy Yak Angler, I think the guy's great. I think, his videos, obviously, he's doing something right, and my hat's off to him. And he's done like and this is why I didn't want to keep bringing it up. He's got like over 1 million views on a duckling video where he uses a duckling lure, and that thing went through the roof. And so but then it's like, okay, I see duckling lures are trending. I need to go out and get a duckling lure. And hey, guys, and then the people that subscribe to you that know you, that you like, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to see the comments from people that know this channel. They've been, with us for as long as they, like the trials and tribulations. And now they're seeing my dumb ass fishing with a duckling lure. They know you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly. So, if you can be good at sniping trends and being like one of the first 5 people that video a new trend, you're gonna do good.
Is there a way, like, and I think what I might do is just in the beginning of the video, just like to the people that watch you, they've been through, the very beginning, just give them a wink, hey, I'm just, I don't want to do this, but I don't know. Like,
It's tough, dude. YouTube's so weird. Like, I had a live stream from 3 years ago that blew up last year that paid for our whole trip.
oh my
Whole
God.
trip. It all of a sudden got 400,000 more views in a month. 2 years later, dude.
Oh my Lord.
Figure
2
that
years
out.
later, it blew up?
Figure that out. For no reason.
I don't even, dude. I mean, honestly, our journey, our internet journey has been so full of pitfalls that, I mean, I'm just gonna keep on going because I'm a glutton for punishment. But I think I've got a good game plan now. And it's just basically doing, more videos on a regular basis and not so like multiple angles, all this nonsense. I mean, I still will do those from time to time, but it's primarily it's going to be more of just getting personal, just with one camera and taking someone on a fishing trip, and hopefully it's a fishing trip that is similar to another fishing trip that's got 1 million views on YouTube.
You guys are like, I think about you guys all the time when I think of like growth, and like, still cannot figure out how another fishing show didn't grow more. I can't figure it out.
I don't know. Part of it is we didn't. You're not gonna do anything on YouTube. I think if it just sits there, you then have to put another one up. The time period between episodes was too long.
I think that is a big drawback. I think you're right. I think that automatically just reduces that video.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, if you guys would have hammered that like best damn fishing float and the bikini ice fishing, and then like done 6 other episodes in a month, you guys probably would have blown up. To be honest, I mean.
Yeah, I think. What are your thoughts, just like in general? I don't know. So there's Rumble. Have you heard about Rumble?
Yeah, that's nothing.
You think so? You heard it here, everybody. Luke Hentges is saying that Rumble is nothing. He is recorded saying that Rumble is nothing. So I want to hear, just so we have it here, recorded, in case Rumble blows up and is the next YouTube. Tell me why Rumble's BS.
Because of YouTube.
Because YouTube's like the monopoly.
They dominate.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest streamers, go back to Twitch, just one of the biggest streamers, top 10 streamers on Twitch just left to come to YouTube.
Wow.
I mean, dude, YouTube's big, man. I mean, how big YouTube is. It makes change people's lives.
Yeah. No, when I first learned about what was going on in YouTube, and it was in 2015, I was like, what are you saying? So Dave Lefebvre, he's a professional bass fisherman. Is like, hey, like, do you know what's going on YouTube? I had no idea. And he's like, yeah, people are making a living putting videos up. And he goes, they're really like basic videos too. It's like and he talked about this one guy that was, living off his YouTube channel that he'd never even heard of, and most people in the tournament bass fishing world hadn't really heard of him before. And here he is, he's making a living off it was just like, it was such a different world, and so I was amazed that there could be a way to pay all those people. Like, I didn't even understand like how that amount of money could be generated for all of those different content creators. And that was the biggest thing. I still don't get it, really.
Crazy.
Like, you tell me, how is a guy fishing for catfish on the Tennessee River out of his kayak able to make a living? And I'm all for it, by the way. But also, how many countless other people in their own little niches able to make a living? Like, how are they generating all of that? I mean, what am I missing here? How are they generating that much income through YouTube?
Dude, sponsors are huge, dude. Sponsors are ginormous on YouTube. When you see like those big channels, the bigger one, the million plussers, the amount of money they're getting paid for sponsors. And I know this through, I know someone who's cousins with one of the biggest gaming YouTubers on the planet. And I'm not going to say the amount he's getting, but it's over 10,000 a sponsorship per video. I mean,
oh my goodness gracious.
It's a lot. And I don't know the exact amount. I just know it's astronomical. Obviously I can talk to you a little more detail off camera.
Yeah. No, I don't want you to say anything that.
It's a lot, dude. It's crazy. And he's a gamer.
Wow.
And it's nuts. Sponsors are crazy on YouTube. But those views alone, if you're getting, a million views a week, you're making bank.
No doubt. Those are crazy numbers. So, what do you? Sorry, I'm drinking a Coca-Cola Zero here because I'm watching my figure cherry, and so I'm burping a little bit. So I apologize for that. But anyway, so what? And I really do think that you have a good finger on the pulse of this, where things are heading. I might disagree with you a little bit on Rumble, but
the only way it's going to come up, in my opinion, my opinion don't really mean shit, but
nonsense,
is if YouTube screws up again.
So the reason I think Rumble could be something is that now, so there's a huge audience, there's no doubt, and YouTube is like, I mean, it's a monopoly, right? And there's a lot of censorship. I'm not talking fishing necessarily, but like political YouTube. There's tons of censorship going on there, and so there's a lot of people bailing and going to Rumble. Now, if Rumble becomes the YouTube alternative in a few years, then those early adopters of it, just like what happened in YouTube, I think could potentially benefit. And there is a way to monetize on there. I mean, it's like when I first heard of YouTube, I'm like, that's cute. And I'm like, I just want to slap myself, I mean, can you imagine if you started uploading videos when YouTube, like the Guggen Squad, those guys, like those little kids, they're little kids back then. They got the little chesties, and they're just putting stupid videos up on YouTube. And now they're all like multi-millionaires, with like groupies.
If I knew what I knew now and started YouTube 10 years ago, I'd be rich right now.
Oh my God. No doubt. So what do you think is the future of all this? Like, where is this heading?
Honestly, I have no clue. It's like the stock market, man. It's so unpredictable. There's so many more channels now. There's so many there's a lot of small channels out there. I go around looking at random like fishing channels once in a while. Like channels that should really, really deserve like genuine, awesome guys, good video, nothing over the top crazy, that deserve way more than they have. And I think once you get a little traction, you just got to grab it and run and just rip it and go. I mean, that's the only thing. It's the only advice I would ever give. Yeah, people say I want to make YouTube videos because I catch big fish. I should make YouTube videos. I catch a lot of big fish. Dude, I don't give a shit what you catch. You could catch the biggest fish in the world. Nobody's going to want to watch you. That's the way it is. People need to want to watch you. It's not the fish you're catching. It's not, people brag like, oh, you should make a YouTube channel because you catch fish. It's not that easy at all.
No, I can attest to that. It's like someone, if someone say, hey, Greg, describe your YouTube experience. What's it like? I'd say, imagine if someone, squared up with you, looking straight at you, squared up with you, and they told you to kind of spread your legs a little bit, and then they just kicked you as hard in the nuts as they could. That's kind of been my experience with YouTube. But I'm going to keep doing it.
Mine hasn't been that bad, but
Yeah, you guys, yeah, because number one, so we're going to get into this a little bit. So Luke has caught a giant blue catfish. In fact, if you watch the video podcast, go to patreon.com/angling uploaded, become a patron. You can see the full video here. I'm not good at selling, dude. I'm so terrible at selling. But anyway, yeah, if you watch the video, it's only available as a patron on patreon.com. You could see Luke has a giant, it's a taxidermied, what's the proper term?
replica.
A replica of his blue cat. It was released, so it's a graphite reproduction? Fiberglass reproduction of his giant catfish, blue catfish that he caught. And you guys got video of it, made a YouTube video, and that thing did very, very well. How many views did you get off that?
It's still growing, but I think it's almost to 900,000,
Nice.
which is not even our biggest video, which is weird. But
Yeah, so that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. One of my talking about the weird stuff on the algorithm, YouTube algorithm. You guys, I've talked to Luke about to Jacob rather, sorry, about this, and so he's complained about this video about how bizarre it is that it did so well. But so you guys did a video titled "Fishing for Flatheads Around Bridges" or something, and it's Pete Warner is his last name, right? I want to make sure.
Yeah.
So he's got the rod loaded up, and there's a bridge in the background, and the title of the video is what is it? It's fishing for flatheads around bridges or something like that. And that thing it's got how many views? It blew up.
1.3 or 1.4 million.
Oh my
maybe?
Lord, have mercy. Oh my Lord, have mercy. So what is tell me about how Northwoods Angling started and like what's been going on with it? Because I know you guys have had a lull. Pete and I we're really good at lulls with another fishing show and Angling Uploaded. So what happened?
You want to know what happened or how we started?
I want both.
Okay. So 8 years ago, I met Jacob. I've heard about him. I heard about Jacob. I don't want to say what I heard about him. No, I'm just kidding. It was all good. Jacob was very successful in his 20s, like real successful. And everyone's like, oh, this guy fishes every single day. He has all this and all this. And I was like, I don't know who that Jacob guy is, but he catches a lot of fish. He fishes a lot. And I met him at a boat ramp on Lindale on the Minnesota River. And everyone's like, oh, that's Jacob. So I went and introduced myself. And 2 weeks after we met, we had fished once together. And we were messaging to each other on Facebook Messenger. And he's like, I really want to go fish alligator gar in Texas. And I was like, dude, I want to go fish alligator gar. Because our friend, Brian Clawitter had done it before. And we talked to him, did some reading. Getting information on gar fishing back then was very difficult, and the guides did not want to talk about it. Very hard. And we, like a month later, we went to Texas. I brought my buddy Chuck with. That was our first ever. We figured out the name on the way to Texas, Northwoods Angling. We decided to make a YouTube channel and filmed it. That was our first ever YouTube video. Was a 200-pound alligator gar. And
so that was actually the first time that you guys fished together?
First time we've ever been on a trip or filmed anything.
That's crazy, because I thought all you guys, like there's what, 4 or 5 of you in Northwoods?
Blake, Peter, and Jacob. Blake's been busy with work and his family stuff, so he hasn't been around to hold much lately, but Peter's pretty active still. Kind of like me, Jacob, and it was just me and Jacob first.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And then we added Peter right away, and then Blake joined up later. I don't remember exactly when, but Blake joined the team. I don't know if it was a year or two later or when it was, but yeah. And then we were a lot less busy with life a promotion at my work. My work got way busier.
Dude, that's the problem. You can't be getting promotions. Okay.
Right.
If I can give all the young people out there, if you want to be a successful fisherman, your job has to go way, way, way down on the totem pole of priorities.
Yeah, I'm just busy. I mean, I'm lucky enough where I can take vacation whenever I want. My boss, my boss is in a different state, and he approves it every time. No questions asked. I apply, he signs it. And that's really nice to have when you want to fish. Jacob's obviously busy. He's a professional videographer for a fishing show. He's gone all the time.
See, what's so funny about that? Like Jacob and I, because Jacob, I don't know when did he start doing that more? 2 years ago?
More than that now.
Because I remember when that happened. And then, and I'm not saying this is what I understand. I think the affliction that he's now experiencing, because I was that guy. I kind of still am that guy. You love fishing, and and you're jaunting all over the world, but then when you come back, to do your own, your own thing, you don't have as much time, and a lot of times, man, you're just exhausted after those long shoots, especially if it's a musky shoot. Those are long shoots, man. So it's interesting to see how that, like, we're in the same boat. Like, and I'm wondering, tell me if this is true, is that this isn't an indictment by any means. I don't want it to come across that way, because we are the kings of like long periods of time where we haven't uploaded footage. But is that part of, like, it's because Jacob is gone so long that we haven't seen a video for a while?
To be honest, I don't know. I just know I don't nag him about it. I don't ask him why. I don't.
I tried to get him on this podcast, and he said, and he said, yeah, for sure. And then it was kind of like, I don't know if he just went on a shoot or something. I don't know if he's shy. I don't know if I'm being overly sensitive. But please, when you talk to him, say that I'd love to talk with him on the Another Fishing podcast.
You guys could have a very interesting chat.
Yeah, well, we're very similar. We're essentially the same guy. We love fishing, and we film it for a living. And then we try to also have a side gig where we're filming us fishing. That's much harder to make a living at.
I've never held it against Jacob, and that I can't really hold it against him. He does all of the editing.
Yeah, it's tremendously difficult. I
know how hard it is. I've watched him and I've seen it done, and I want no part of it. Zero.
You're smart. Just keep doing live streaming. You got something there, because the editing is it's what you do in hell.
Right.
I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
He does have times he really enjoys it, though, and it's like a really good show, and he's like, oh, this is fun to edit, because he knows, like this lake trout episode, there were so many big lake trout caught. Like, he had so much to pick from.
Yeah, that's always a good problem to have.
It's different when you have a copious amounts of stuff you want. And before trips, when he's not with, I ask him what shots he wants, what kind of B-roll he wants. I just do that because I know his life's gonna be a lot less stressful when I give him a video to edit, knowing I have all the shots he wants.
Yeah, no doubt. So what is your the plan for you guys? I mean, you guys have got, I haven't looked at your numbers in a while.
I think almost 37 maybe. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a tremendous, like, just to have that foundation to build from again. So what do you think the future holds for you guys?
I think eventually we're going to kick her down again. I'd like to get up to the 100K mark sometime. I think that'd be nice. I think we can do it if we do some shorter videos, some easier stuff, or stuff we can pawn off to someone else to edit that we can all approve is good, and put out more content and do more videography stuff. And even like when I go out and if I catch a 40-pound flathead and miss a couple fish. I think that should be a video. I like that idea. I think they'd be a lot easier to make videos that way. That's the only way we're going to really get super big growth, because we were at one point, we were having weeks where we get 1,000 subscribers, and that kind of, I remember when we first started, when we'd get 5 subs in a day, we were so jacked. You know the feeling?
Oh yeah, dude.
And I was like, man, I'd love to get 1,000 subs. We hit 1,000. And they're like, man, 10,000 would be cool. And then you're at 10,000. Now we're sitting at, almost 40,000. And I feel like just a little peon still.
Dude, I live in a town that is like half of your subscriber base. I mean, you ever think about it in those terms?
It's
like
weird,
we
dude.
all like go, okay, 100,000 is the mark. I mean, I was excited to get 1,000. But like, even 1,000 subscribers, that's more than the town that I grew up in. Like,
Right.
I don't even know if I know, like, I don't have 1,000 friends. I mean, you do. Well, you're a likable guy, but I don't I don't have 1,000 friends.
It's weird, man. Like, as you grow, or even not growing, and then you become friends with these big YouTubers, and you're like, I am so small. And like,
I don't know. I think where you guys are at, you guys have got a tremendous foundation to build from, and you got loyal, you got loyal people that will watch. I mean, what's fun with these, starting these channels and developing an audience is that you get really loyal people, and I don't know. It's really cool. So, I mean, you guys, I don't know. I think I'm pulling for you. I know you can get above. I mean, let's just the 50,000 mark is amazing, but you could totally if others can do it, there's no reason you guys can't do it. I don't know. I think first of all, I'd love to be in your shoes. I'd love to be at that mark and then really just go, okay, now we're gonna be more consistent, because I think, yeah, if you guys can be more consistent with your videos, and you guys got a good grasp on, all kinds of cool fisheries. You're
Right.
doing the lake trout thing. You're doing the big, you've done the alligator gar thing. You've caught big blue cats. You got a good handle on obviously the lake sturgeon deal on the St. Croix River here, not far from here. And, and I would say that, and this is coming from a guy that it's taken a long time for me to get to this point, but yeah, if you can get Jacob, and I'm even talking to myself when I'm saying this, I'm really like it, and Pete has been saying this, my partner in crime, he's been saying this for a long time. It's like, he's you essentially. He's like, yeah, how about we just kind of do some more basic, more, simpler videos and more consistent. I'm like, no, it's got to be like Martin Scorsese or something, or a Spielberg production. It's just, you are totally shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And so, like, to Jacob, if you're listening, I'm just telling you, man, just let Luke.
Hold on, before you say that, be careful what you say now.
just let Luke edit. Let Luke shoot some stuff and let him edit some stuff, and let Luke. It's his own. It's like Luke's video diary. Just let Luke go. Let him upload and let him do his thing. And it can be the same. It's under the Northwoods Angling umbrella. I'm letting Pete do it. I'm letting Pete doing his. You're hearing it first. Pete Wagner, if you're listening, upload your videos. They don't have to be color corrected. They don't have to be. I've color corrected video. I color correct videos, dude. You don't color correcting YouTube videos is one of the dumbest things a person does, and it can do, and I do it. You don't need a color corrected YouTube video.
Jacob does that too.
Oh yeah, and audio sweetening.
Oh yeah.
So my point is, so Jacob, if you're listening, you don't let Luke, give him the reins a little bit, okay? Because it's got to be consistent. I'm talking to myself here. This is also like a therapy session for me. It's like just more simple, letting people come along for the ride, like a video diary. It doesn't need to have all kinds of camera angles and whatnot. But the biggest thing is like YouTube needs, it needs you to feed it. That's part of it. It just wants you to keep feeding it. And so you can't keep feeding it if you're trying to do blockbuster, films. We don't have the time. No one has the time. I mean, maybe twice a year. So anyway, I don't know how you feel about that whole diatribe, but.
Well, you're putting a little pressure on me here. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think here's the reality. What I'm trying to tell you is that the future of both our organizations lies with you, okay, Luke Hentges and Pete Wagner. I really believe that.
No,
the perfectionists will kill a channel.
Yeah, unless you can do perfectionist 2 times a week, which ain't happening.
Have you heard, and I know we've all got to get to bed here, but have you heard of Fiverr by any chance?
Yeah, of course.
So that is I heard on the last shoot I was on, I heard that there's some YouTubers that are using Fiverr very cheaply, maybe from another country, maybe potentially sweatshop labor to edit their YouTube videos.
Yep.
And so, just an idea.
Not doing it.
So anyway, brother, let's see. I guess lastly, let's just end it on your giant blue cat and just what an experience that was, because that is an amazing video, an amazing fish, and I think that's a good way to kind of end this podcast with that story.
Well, here's the story. It's a great one. We had only blue catfished 3 times. I had done it once on Milford Lake and Milford Reservoir in Kansas, and then that same trip on the Missouri River on the way back, and then I went one more Missouri River trip. Kind of sucked. It's tough. It's a really fast river. If you've never fished the Missouri River, the channelized part, it's insane how much flow there is. We got shown around there by our friends that live down on the Missouri River, and they kind of said, watch for this. You kind of want to target these swings, target the wing dikes, the flats at night. And me and Jacob were there. We went and spent like $300 in bait. Way too much bait, by the way. We overbought because we didn't realize how much bait we weren't going to use. And we launched the boat, my Sea Deucer, my old Starcraft. And it was a real slow day, man. We didn't really catch anything, to be honest. I don't think. The whole first part of the day. Well, we caught one from our camp. We went out. Storm came ripping through. And we went and hid underneath this little beach with an overhanging tree. We went and camped out under there. And right when the storm ended, we went right up river, kind of where we were going to try fishing. And like, oh, here's a channel swing. Look at that. Look at the shore. There's a bunch of bank pulls there, too. People were bank lining and had their stuff set up. So we chucked out the bait, 12-ounce weights, right behind the boat off this channel swing. And Jacob's rod bent over, and it looked pretty big, but that current, is fast. It's 100,000 CFS all the time. And well, he was reeling in. If you watch the video, my rod just folds in half.
Oh my Lord!
And I knew it was big. Because it was just peel and drag the whole time, and I didn't know how big. And when I saw it, it was crazy. Seeing a 100-pound blimp in the water is something else.
That is unreal, dude. So how long was the fight?
I'd say 20 minutes and 3 miles.
Wow.
I mean, it pulled us, probably a mile and a half. It pulled us down the river. You can see when he goes into fast forward mode, that's just us coming back to where we were fishing once we got it in the boat. We tied the Jacob, a lot of stuff you don't see. People realize there's editing in videos, and a lot of that, Jacob threw before we had to float with the fish because it was going to spool me. That 7,000 abu was not stopping that fish in that current. So we tied the anchor rope to a life jacket and threw it in the water and just started floating with the fish. until I got it up to the boat. And when we got it in the boat, we flew back up to our anchor and tied it off, grabbed the life jacket and tied it to the boat. And then we were back where we started. But it was a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles we floated with that fish to stop it. And the rod was too light. It was the first fish we had ever caught with our Tomcat, like on camera, and it was a 118-pound blue cat. And like,
dude,
talk about
that is crazy. Yeah, that's just unreal. It was 118 pounds.
We never weighted. The chart says between 109 and 118. I just say 118 because it's 100 plus is what it really matters to me, I guess. But
and so this fish. Obviously, you guys got a lot of views with it, approaching 1 million views. Probably what I'm most impressed by is that it got you in Fisherman, which is, if you're a multi-species angler, that's like, that's the pinnacle, in Fisherman magazine as far as I'm concerned. So that's super cool. Talk about that. How did that all happen?
Well, it doesn't hurt that my old roommate's dad's the videographer for In Fisherman.
So what's his name, by the way? I might know him.
Dave.
So I know a Pete Poloni who actually films he's up in Brainerd or Walker. Pete Poloni.
He's in Brainerd too.
Yeah, so I'm sure he knows him. But Pete Poloni is he's a freelance videographer that shoots for In Fisherman. So, but anyway,
he works directly at there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Job. But yeah, I submitted a master angler, and I think Stangy wrote a little note sending something back and says awesome fish, and then signed it because like he told the guys I was sending it over because they knew I caught that big. They all seen the big fish when I caught it because I sent it to him. His dad, my buddy's dad. He's like, all the guys over here are going crazy or whatever, I think he said. And then I think Doug sent a thing back, says awesome fish. Then he signed it. And
I'm a huge Stangy fan. He's my favorite outdoor writer. I remember as a kid reading about Otis Toad Smith, and his buddy, his sidekick. They'd go, fishing for channel cats in like Iowa rivers, and I read those as a kid, and I just absolutely loved his writing. Still to this day, I think he's the best outdoor writer there is. I mean, at least in fishing, in my opinion. But I actually, this Pete Poloni I was talking about, he's a freelance videographer. He shoots with Doug a lot. And I told him, I said, listen, man, just put a bug in his ear. Tell him that I want to have him on my podcast. So I'm really kind of finagling that. It would be a dream of mine to talk to Doug Stangy on here. I'm a huge fan. So yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, I know I'm sure you gotta get up early in the morning, so I won't keep you any longer, but I really appreciate it, coming on here and I say this every time, but legitimately, dude, let's get in a boat, whether it be my boat, your boat. If you want to go bass fishing, I'm a much better bass fisherman than cat fisherman. I want to be as good of a cat fisherman as I am a bass fisherman, but yeah, I'd love to fish with you sometime, brother.
Upper Mississippi, I got the boat for it now, so.
Okay. I that's right. Yeah, I know some spots on the Upper Mississippi.
I need 4 inches of water.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, if you want to do a smallmouth foray or whatever, man, let's do it. So thanks again, brother. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.